Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Deadly and welcome back to our rogue leveling series. I hope you guys watched episode 1. If you haven't yet, definitely check out the playlist on my channel or hit my channel button in the description box and it'll take you right there. So just a quick recap, last video we hit level 10, we did Terrace Fall and we completed some of the quests, not all of them, into Brill. And we discussed the 1 to 10 rogue abilities and some of the Forsaken racials. And also for the sake of time, this footage is sped up, and I hope you guys don't mind that at all. Alright guys, let's get started and talk about some of these abilities. So first off, we have Deadly Poison. We unlocked it at level 10. Each strike is a 30% chance of poisoning the enemy for nature damage over 12 seconds. It's a poison that lasts 1 hour. And I think you can have 2 poisons on your character at a time. We don't have crippling just yet, but when we do, we can actually apply both of them. Also at level 10, as you guys know, you have to pick your specialization. And I actually picked Subtlety. And this was because a lot of people who play rogues actually commented and said, hey, you should rock Subtlety. It's the best choice right now. So we're actually going to take a lesson from some of the rogue veterans and see how it goes. So the first ability that we get is Hemorrhage. It's a strike that deals 160 weapon damage plus a bleed that is 50% of that damage over 24 seconds. And that replaces Sinister Strike, and it's going to be our main core ability for generating combo points as a Subtlety rogue. We also have 2 passives we're going to be talking about. So the first one that we get at level 10 is Master of Subtlety. Attacks made while stealth and for 6 seconds after, you get an increased 10% damage on all those strikes. That can make the difference. 10% damage is quite a lot whenever you're putting it in perspective. We also have another massive boost. Sinister Calling, increasing our total agility by 30%. That is going to be a game changer when it comes to damage, because agility is one of the core stats for the rogue, so getting a natural 30% boost is going to mean a lot, especially once we hit level 90 and we get the PvP gear. We're also moving along rather nicely right now in Silverpine Forest, and we just hit level 12, which unlocks Sap. Sap incapacitates the target for up to a minute. If it's a player, it's 8 seconds. You have to be stealth, and it breaks on damage. Sap is actually one of the core stun abilities that the rogue has. It's used in a variety of different openers in PvP, and then also very useful in PvE. So get to learn to use it, and if you're pulling big mobs or if you're doing dungeon in Dungeon Finder and you have somebody's on the healer, and you're still stealth, you can sap them. You can open up and sap a healer mob or an enemy player if someone's getting harassed in the world. So there's a lot of different situations where sap is useful, so you definitely want to put it on a really good key binding and get used to sapping a lot. Alright, so that's all of our initial specialization choices and ability choices that we currently have at level 12. So actually, we're level 13. We just explored the world and found a new place and gave us enough experience to push us over the edge and hit 13. And just kind of mention again, I am leveling with Protox here. I don't think he's going to be continuing his Shadow Priest, but he might be playing a Hunter. So we'll see, down the road in future episodes if we're actually going to be playing along with him. And if you guys are on Bleeding Hollow and you see that I'm online, you're leveling a character in the similar zone. Now, I don't usually join groups if I'm doing quests, but if I'm doing dungeons, definitely you can join me. Add me on Battle ID. I'll give you guys my ID in the description box. My only request would be not to spam it. So if you are interested in leveling along or just seeing how I'm doing in the actual game, you can check the description box there and it'll give you what you need. So we're currently at the Forsaken Rear Command, and we're in Silverpine Forest. We're doing the whole questing thing. We're playing with Protox. At level 15, we're definitely going to be switching it up and doing a lot of dungeons. And typically I like to have a plan for my characters every single time I level them up, right? Because it's a good thing to think about. Always plan ahead. You know what zones you're going to, you know what dungeons you're going to be completing. If there's any way of just maximizing how much experience you're getting per hour, you definitely want to do that. So that's why I always tell you guys to be so mindful about your quest log. If you're doing green quests, you're wasting your time. That's even more prevalent now because with the changes with the instant level 90 button, if you don't have a 90, you can click that button. I'm saying that it's authentic though if you go from 1 through 90 with the same character, you definitely build a bigger attachment. You learn all the abilities because you have plenty of time to use them on NPCs. So if you're jumping into a new class right away, it's almost better to actually take it 1 through 90 and learn it, or 55 through 90 if you're leveling up a Death Knight. But that's just my opinion. But anyways, we're going to be sticking a lot to dungeons. We're going to be mixing it up a little bit, but I think at the state of the game right now, once we hit level 15, we're almost there, we're going to be doing way more dungeons than what we usually do in a leveling show. So I hope you guys don't mind that. At level 14, we picked up Slice and Dice. It's a finishing move that consumes a combo point, increases your attack speed by 40%, and it lasts longer per combo point. And this is one of the best finishing moves for your actual DPS. Whenever you're going to be fighting in instances or boss fights or even in PvP, you want to make sure that you're using your finishing moves to a degree where you're going to be maximizing as much damage as possible. So with Slice and Dice, whenever you pick it up, you definitely want to make sure that you use it after 2 or 3 combo points, and then go into your Eviscerates, your damage dealing abilities, and then just make sure that you're keeping an eye on it and trying to keep it up as much as possible, because 40% attack speed is massive. It's a game changer on the rogue, and if you're not using that Slice and Dice ability, you're just not going to be amping out as much damage as you normally would. So definitely keep an eye on that, and balance your finishing moves. So juggle around with different strategies. You never know what you might come up with. Although people think this game is very much bread and butter, there's only one way to play it, you can be surprised whenever you get a little creative and you learn your own ways of handling situations, your own combinations for damage. It's really key to kind of just keep on experimenting. Alright guys, we just hit level 15, and we only have one core ability that we've received, and that's Pickpocket, so it just gives you the ability to run up to NPCs and pick their pocket. It's nothing too crazy. However, we do now finally have the chance to pick our first talent point. So I'm going to be going into each talent point and then which one I decided to go with. So our first talent choice is Night Stalker. It increases your movement speed while stealth by 20% and your damage dealt while stealth by 50%. This is really good for if you maximize your damage with the opener. It's all about moving around with stealth, and then eventually, once you hit level 40, do some serious backstabs and ambushes. Now we have Subtlety, and this is a very simple but powerful talent. Stealth breaks 3 seconds instead of breaking instantly, so that is if you open up with a move or if you get hit out of stealth. So it gives you extra time to do an additional ambush or get out of there if you are actually attacked. Finally, we have Shadow Focus. Its abilities no longer cost energy while you're in stealth. Another really powerful talent, because you can open up with an ambush which costs you absolutely nothing, generate the combo points, and then do some serious finishing move Hemorrhage combos. So both are really good. But at the end of the day, I went with Subtlety because being able to stay in stealth 3 seconds after you've been hit or 3 seconds after you've actually done damage to the enemy can seriously save you or increase your damage output significantly. So it was also a talent that was suggested very closely by some other rogues who've been giving me some insight on the actual class and how it works. So I'm definitely going to be taking some insight, but also going for a choice which is going to benefit my style of game. Alright, so those were the talent choices for level 15, but I'm sure you've already noticed that we're in Ragefire Chasm, and RFC is the first dungeon that you can actually do in WoW, and it's seen a number of different variations throughout the years. So it's a really straightforward instance. Honestly, nothing really matters. The healer pretty much has infinite mana. Everyone is just being able to tank a bunch of shots from all the enemies. So actually having good group construction does not matter at all, and it probably won't matter at all until you're near level 70 or 80. Actually, you can probably just make it all the way to level 90 without worrying at all about team composition. Tanking is extremely easy, and healing isn't that hard either whenever you're doing basic dungeons, even up to normal level instances. So if you're eager to take up one of those roles but you're afraid that you're going to screw up the composition of the dungeon, just don't worry about it and just do it. You learn with experience. It's the best way to actually tank. So right now you guys are going to witness one of the reasons why I think dungeons are actually the best way to go, and I know that In the past, it's been pretty much that way, but in Cataclysm, you can at least level up a character 1 through 85, and it was actually relatively quick. But here, you can't compete with the speed. I just killed this boss, and I hit level 16, and I literally walk over to turn in those quests that I've already killed that guy, and I already hit level 17. The dungeon quests, you get insane amount of experience for them. So always pick them up and always do them. Every single one of them as much as you can. Tell your group that you want to do the quests, and then you'll get everybody the additional experience. Even some of those boring pickup quests whenever you're just looking for certain items in the dungeon throughout the entire time that you're doing it. So just keep an eye out for that, because it can really be a game changer. So level 17, we also picked up a brand new finishing move, Recuperate. It's a finishing move that consumes combo points, that restores 4% maximum health every 3 seconds, lasts longer per combo point. This is definitely very important for PvP, but it's also cool to note my main character is a hunter. I find it insane that we have a talent that is pretty much recuperate the entire time you're fighting. It's insane. Spirit Bond, if you guys don't use it, I highly recommend it, and that's for some of the hunters watching today. So this is our second run going through RFC, and we're kind of plowing through it as much as we can because that's just the best way to do it. In fact, RFC is really optimized for getting fast experience. A lot of other dungeons, Wailing Caverns, hey, I don't mind doing Wailing Caverns every now and again, but Wailing Caverns is one of the most boring instances in the entire game, and it's just so confusing for new players to run around that place that I think it definitely deserves some sort of optimization, because all the other dungeons have been getting some love, but Wailing Caverns just seems like it's never ending. Like, you get a group that does Wailing Caverns, and I would say 50% of the time that it will break before you can get to the Murloc at the end, which is where you do all of your dungeon quests and everything that's really important for gaining experience. But I'm going to show you guys, we jumped into Wailing Caverns. I just hit level 18 here, and we received Kick as well, so I'm going to be testing that out on Baron Ashbury. Logan and I decided to go into Shadowfang Keep ourselves, just to kind of show you that you really don't need a group to do some of these things. And there's a move called Pain and Suffering, I think, and you can interrupt that, just kind of showing off the Kick. I love interrupts. It's just I do arena a lot, so whenever I unlock a new interrupt, definitely putting it on a hotkey, getting used to it, practicing it on new spawns. So we actually queued up for a dungeon while doing Shadowfang Keep, which was actually pretty awesome. Saves some time if you're just trying to grind out a lot of experience in between. And we got Wailing Caverns, and like I said just a few seconds ago, Wailing Caverns is just, it's a love-hate relationship, because you go there, and if you have a good group, like a really good tank who knows how to get around with great heals, and all the group is keeping pace and no one's confused, then you'll get through it and it'll be amazing. If you're a rogue or a hunter or even a shaman, you'll come here and then you'll fall in love, because you'll get a lot of gear, a lot of Fang gear, a lot of weapons, a lot of stuff actually comes out of Wailing Caverns. Back in the day, you used to get the majority of your level 19 twink gear from Wailing Caverns if you're a rogue, so that or dead mines. But I was really looking forward to getting to some dead mines, but I think I completely out-leveled it and I wasn't able to get it, so I guess Wailing Caverns was the way. So we're at that point, guys, of the video. We have a secret question. What year did you start playing WoW, and what was your first character that you ever created? Just to kind of give you guys my side of things, I started playing in 2006, so it's been a long time. I started playing because I watched a lot of YouTubers uploading their content from the game, and I fell in love with it. My first character I ever made was actually a human priest, and I never got him past level 35, but man oh man, had a lot of fun. I was a shadow priest back in early Burning Crusade. This was the first patch of Burning Crusade, and I was leveling up a new character, and man, I got my ass kicked on the priest. Trying to level a priest back then was so difficult. You just died all the time. And that's a WoW that I kind of miss. It's so casual now that if you're not really playing arena or high-end PvP or you know, RBGs, maybe even some battle or even some dedicated raids, some heroics. You know, I just even that kind of even some of that stuff has been dumbed down compared to what it was. And, you know, I think that's just kind of Blizzard signaling that, you know, they do have other focuses they'd like to take a look at over the next 5 to 10 years, and WoW might not be around, because it just seems like they're dumbing it down to the point where, you know, anyone can get an end game character and anybody can, you know, jump into a raid and complete it. And yeah, that's great and everything, but, you know, gamers like that hardcore atmosphere, and if you don't have that hardcore atmosphere, then I find they die out. No one really wants to watch an incredibly easy game, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. We just hit level 20. We're picking up our basically our riding ability, because you can use all your mounts on all your characters, which is really awesome. So I was pumped about that. So we're not walking anymore. We finally got a mount, and we'll be doing some more dungeons and exploring some different areas next video. Thanks, guys.